Fiona.
And my name is Sweetie, and welcome to
What They Don't Tell You podcast.
The pre-dental edition.
So today's video is going to be all about the DAT, which you just started studying for.
I did. I started like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And it's so much fun.
You sound so convincing.
Help! It's been fun to organize my schedule because I am taking a summer class, which is not recommended, but you know, living life.
I feel like, yeah, do what's according to you. I think ideally they say take off 3 months to study for it solely on that. Treat it as like a 9 to 5, 8 hours every single day.
No, seriously.
But I think you built this enough stamina with this master's program that you can, you know.
That is one of the benefits of the master's program, that my study skills are a little bit different. So I have a different approach this time around because I signed up to take the DAT 2 years ago. And when I started to study for it, I was like, what am I looking at? Like, what is this? So this time around, I feel a lot more confident, and I'm excited to share. What is the DAT?
Right? Like, let's go there. Like basics, like 101.
So when I speak to people, I always compare it to the MCAT. Everyone knows what the MCAT is. Most people know what the MCAT is. So the dental admissions test is pretty much a test, an exam that you take before going into dental school.
It's required part of the application. It's going to test you on your basic knowledge. But I think the difference with these exams, like it's not just like content based. Partially, yes, they want you to know certain just like facts, science facts, math, whatever. But I think a big portion of that is also critical thinking and like how do you do under pressure, stamina. We've talked about before, taking these long like 6 hour, well, this is a 4.5 hour exam.
Yeah. And you have to plan ahead, and you have to dedicate at least 2 months of studying every single day, with maybe one day where you take to kind of get a breather. But we're going to get more into details with that, and we'll share some gems, some of the resources that we've used or that some of our peers have used in order to do well on the DAT.
It's a 4.5 hour exam. So like we said, you need to build that stamina to stay alert and be able to keep testing and answering those questions. I feel like it's exhausting, right?
Yeah.
If you're not trained to do so.
4 hours? Like, how do you prepare? Like, what do you do? No, seriously. What do you do?
I'm actually asking.
Like, asking for a friend.
Yeah.
I'm a friend.
That's why they say take 2 to 3 months to study for DAT because you build that. You're going to study for like, let's say 8 hours a day, whatever it is. I think it just comes with time.
Okay.
And training your brain.
I personally am dedicating 3 months because I want to make sure that I do the best possible. I'm submitting the application directly after. And if I'm not mistaken, you get your score the same day, right?
But it takes 2 weeks to process and get your official one sent to the school. But you will know immediately, like after you hit submit.
So I want to be happy when I hit submit. I'm going to dedicate a little bit more time because of my study style and just because I'm still learning. Remember, I always say I'm going through this in real time with you guys. Any pointers or anything that you are willing to share, please comment below and let us know.
So in order to even register for the exam, it is $525. And that's just the beginning.
Literally.
And that's without any sort of like prep program or resources included. That's just to register. You do need to have your dent pin to register as well. So you do have to do a separate lining up for that. That's how you register at like a Prometric center near you.
There is a website that you go to. We'll link it in the description box. Make sure that you schedule the test on a time frame that's realistic because they do charge a fee if you move the test date. The fees change based on how close the test date is. I plan to take the DAT in August, and July comes and I don't feel like I'm going to be ready August. They will charge me a fee to move it based on, let's say it's 2 weeks left until, so it's like $125.
I think it ranges, anywhere from $40 to $150, depending on how close you are to your exam date.
So the closer you are to your exam date, the higher it's gonna cost to change the dates. Just be sure, because it is expensive, and that's just one less thing you need to worry about is paying a fee to move things around. So just keep that in mind when you are scheduling.
I've also heard horror stories from like my friends who have not shown up on test day because of like anxiety or like just feeling not ready, and you lose the entire deposit.
Oh, yeah.
So that's also
That was me.
that happened to you?
Yeah, it was a little bit different. I ended up applying to the program and I got in and I was advised, like, you know, don't take it yet. And I was like, but I paid for it already. And they're like, trust me, like, don't take it yet. So I lost that money. I mean, later on, I see the benefits of it, right? But at the moment, you know, I was working and I was like, dang, I could have used those $500. But yeah, so just keep in mind, you know, the time and how much it costs to do that.
Like you said, be realistic. As much as we would love to be like, yes, 2 months is all I need, I can do it.
Yeah.
You don't want a bad score. You only get to take the DAT 3 times max. And then there is special consideration for a 4th time, but you have to especially apply for that.
I didn't even know there was a 4th time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 3's max, but there is, I guess, an option of 4.
Personally, I feel like I have so much explaining to do about my undergrad. I don't need to explain anything. Don't take the DAT just to take it. Just, oh, I'm going to see how I do. Like, don't.
I did that my first time.
Really?
So if you don't know, I took DAT 3 times.
She maxed out.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, that 4th.
Wow. 3's your number, girl.
Lucky 3. Yeah, so the first time I took it was, I think, right after I graduated college. In college, during college.
Oh.
I thought I was on this traditional path, and I thought I had to take it by sophomore year, to apply by junior year, to get in right after college.
I read a lot of students do that, which is cool, too.
Right, but it did not work out for me in my favor. I did so terrible on the first time. I barely studied. I didn't even know what it was. I thought, let me just see like how I do.
Get this, I try to study without even taking Orgo. Now looking back, I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, take the classes first, and then hopefully these resources should be reviewed for you when you are trying to prep for it.
Yeah, so talking about taking the class, we did mention in one of our episodes what are prereqs to get into dental school. So you're literally tested on those prereqs in the DAT. So you want to give us a breakdown of the different subjects or how the test will be broken down when you go to take it or even while you're studying?
Yeah, I feel like let's go down the actual format. So this is test day. This is the exact order they come in, what kind of subjects you're tested on. So first you're going to start off with a survey of natural sciences. So that's going to be 100 questions in 90 minutes.
Ooh. Okay.
So that breakdown is going to be 40 questions for biology, 30 for chemistry, and 30 for organic chemistry.
Okay. I was trying to study for a class that I didn't even take yet. I pushed it to take it a later time. It wasn't realistic for me to think that I would successfully take the DAT and then take the class. So if you haven't taken all the prereqs, I highly recommend that you take them first and you truly put some effort, because I know we could try to get a C or whatever, but you really want to understand these concepts because you will see it again when you take in the DAT.
You know that phrase, like C's get degrees?
Yeah.
But it doesn't work here.
Not around here.
Because these subjects come back and you really have to like actually learn it. And you know, what's the point of like half doing anything?
Right. Like if you're going to do it well.
So after the sciences comes the PAT.
It's super scary.
It's scary because you've never seen it before. This is not something you've been tested on like previously, like as an undergrad class. Like these are all like mind tricks, right? Like mind games to see
your perceptual ability.
Right. So if you can see depth, you can tell the difference between different angles, how you're able to like fold things in your head visually, because that's what you'll be doing, right? For like teeth. So it does apply a little bit.
It does. I think if anything, it applies the most.
First, it's going to be angle ranking, which is notorious for being the worst one. They'll show you different angles, right? It could be acute, obtuse, whatever, but they'll change it between 1 to 3 degrees.
Yeah.
So like, can you see the difference between 3 degrees and 4 degrees?
Not yet, but we will. I hear it's the more you do it, it's more like training your eye than it is like studying it. Repetition. Active recall is the term that they use now. So doing it every single day, you add it into your study schedule. I think that would probably be the best, right?
Yeah. A lot of these resources have like free generators you can use. So even like, let's say you haven't bought the actual package yet, there will be websites you can use like free PAT tester like every day just to like start.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. I'll be using that sometime this week.
And then next, there's hole punching. So hole punching is where they'll take a piece of paper on the screen and they'll fold it a couple times and put a hole punch in one section. And then they're gonna ask you, what does the paper look like when you open it up again? So where does those holes go? There's gonna be tips and tricks, like some are gonna be symmetrical based on like if one's in one corner, it's gonna be reflected on the other corner. I've heard people struggle with that.
But I just started, so I'm gonna give myself some grace.
You're gonna
practice.
You're gonna get it. Then we have keyhole. I think they're all like tricky.
No, it's all crazy. It's tricky. It's training you to think differently. That's what it is when you take chemistry. When you take chemistry, you kind of have to visualize these bonds, these reactions. It's all connected in a way. If you think about it in hindsight, like it's all connected, but
so keyhole is kind of like those like baby toys. You know, they're trying to push the shape inside the hole to see if it fits, but way more complex.
Yeah.
There's no squares, no circles on this one.
There's not even like a question. It just shows you the shape. When I've seen them, it just shows you the main shape and then these other 4 shapes.
Right,
that
like where will it fit
in. Yeah.
Practice.
Training your eye.
Then we have top front end, which is actually my favorite one because I don't know, I was really good at that one. I don't know why. Top front end is where they show you object and to show like top, front, and then they'll be like, what does the end look like? And they'll be based on lines, and like dash lines would mean folds, and harsh lines would means like an end. They'll give you 2 sides of an object, and you have to pick which is the 4th side. Oh my God, that sounds so crazy. Hold on.
So that's how it is. So that's exactly how it feels when you're trying to understand it. Because it's like, okay, you can't. You just have to do it. Like you have to practice. That's something that you honestly have to put in that time to get. So I'll be back with my findings.
Then we have cube counting, which...
Yes, cube counting I like. It's like a stack of squares, and you count the sides, even the sides that you can't necessarily see. So you have to visualize the sides that may be in between.
Say even like a Lego fixture, a bunch of squares, and they're throwing paint on it. So they're asking, how many of these sides are covered in paint? Visually see, okay, I can't see the behind this box, but I know it's painted because it's like open. Versus the ones in the middle, like, there's no sides painted because... It's in the middle. It's covered completely. There's also lots of tips and tricks. For that one, you make a chart. You just go like row by row and count and like tally it up. The question will ask like how many of these squares have 6 sides painted. So you don't need to know every single thing, but you need to know 6. That's how they'll give you the question.
Fun.
Pattern folding. I don't remember this one. To be honest, it's been a while.
You guys are on your own here.
It's been 3 years for me.
Oh, there is a time frame too. So the DAT expires.
It does.
Right? Like 3 years?
3 years. I was so lucky. My last year when I applied, that was my last time, you know, those scores would be valid. And I was like, oh man, if I don't get in this time, gotta take it for the 4th time and make that plea bargain and whatnot. But thank God. We made it. So back to our breakdown. So we have the sciences, then with the PAT, and then you have a break. Highly recommend to take that break. It's gonna be 15 minutes. They give you a locker when you first check in. You can have a snack. You can look at your cell phone. Some people look at formulas, which like is not really recommended, but if you want to. When you come back, then we start with reading comprehension. So that's gonna be 50 questions in 60 minutes.
Fun. Is it like short stories or is it an article?
They are long. They're not short.
Long, like science.
They're all going to be scientific articles, 15 paragraphs, I would say. The whole point is they want you to read it quickly and then comprehend what you read. So then after that, it's going to be questions. Some can be super facts-based. Some will also ask about the general tone of the article. I remember a lot of those being like, okay, what was the author trying to convey? Was he argumentative? Was he proving a point?
You were saying there's different methods that people use to get it. So like skimming through it is a
So skimming
common
through
method,
it,
like most common.
And like doing questions called traditional versus their search and destroy. People don't even read the article. They go straight through questions and go back up and like look for the words and try to find the answer that way. It's worked for a lot of people, but I didn't do that personally.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to read because if you do get a question, like why did the author write this?
Right.
You're gonna be like,
that's the only time it doesn't work because you should know the gist, the way he wrote it. Right.
Okay.
After reading, we have the last one, which is quantitative reasoning.
Math.
40 questions in 45 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the last section. Yeah. By then, probably gonna be
Drained. And also the subject matter is terrible.
We don't do math either.
Probability questions, there's word questions.
So that's a general breakdown of the DAT, and we want to talk about some of the resources that I'm currently using, Sona has used, and some of our peers rave about, and we'd like to share them with you. So the one that I'm using this year is DAT Bootcamp. I tried DAT Booster. I think aesthetically I liked it better, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm trying Bootcamp, and I feel like everyone uses Bootcamp now.
Everyone does, yes. I think that's the most popular one for good reason.
Because there is a schedule. That's the cool part, because I feel like I was all over the place with how I was going to break down the DAT. But Ari with DAT Bootcamp, he has a full schedule that breaks everything down, and eventually you start doing a little bit of everything every day. And then towards the end, you're doing practice tests. So you're building that stamina for that time frame. And then I know that they say it's important when you're studying to go over what you got incorrect, but also the questions you got correct, so that you can understand why.
As someone who's taken it 3 times, I did use DAT Bootcamp every single time. But then after that, I would use other resources in order to improve my grade. My points did go up every single time by like 2 to 3.
That's a big...
Yeah, we were starting off pretty...
We're not going to talk about that.
But...
What did you get on the first time?
Oh, yeah, right. I'm not saying that. It wasn't pretty.
We won't expose. So there is a grading scale. I didn't understand it at first because I was like, we get tested and we're tested out of 100%. But this is like a score from 1 to 30.
Average keeps going higher and higher because it's getting so much more competitive in this field. Typically, 18 is like a nice average score. Minimum 16s in every subject.
Some schools, if you're strong enough, your other stats are strong enough, a 16 they will accept. Generally, 18 is the average.
And I think anything above 20 is like perfect, amazing.
Yeah, I think like 24, 25 is in the 99th percentile.
Anything, past 25, those are like, you don't even need it that high. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, because the highest score you can get is a 30. It's kind of like the grading scale for your driver's license. You know, you can't get more than 30 points. You can't like go over 30. You can't... So 30 is the highest, but on average is 18. Some schools accept 16, but you know, you want to shoot for the best to your ability. So
DAT Bootcamp is around 500. There's always a coupon code out there.
Yeah.
So definitely check those Facebook groups, YouTubers, like just Google it. There's always a discount code of some sort.
3 main one I feel like is Kaplan, DAT Booster, and DAT Bootcamp.
I feel like it changes every year because now I think Kaplan isn't a resource anymore.
At all.
It's not the best. I haven't heard good things, to be honest.
I haven't heard good thing about the class. I haven't heard great thing about the prep course, but I know some people do like to use it as supplemental. You can use supplemental things, so I use Crack That.
Okay.
Just to get me started. I didn't put any pressure on myself. I was like, okay, I have this book because I bought it before I even knew like there were so many other resources.
Right.
So I got the Kaplan. It just too much. It was just too much. There was no organization for me. So Bootcamp, I think, is the best. The reason why I did Booster because it is a little bit more cost efficient. But we'll see. There's also DAT Destroyer.
On my 3rd final time when I took the DAT, I did DAT Bootcamp again for the general knowledge of it because they do have videos to teach you each subject, things like that, refresh. And then to supplement, I use the DAT Destroyer. So this is a book that has only questions, tons of questions so you can practice. They say this is a great tool to use to push your score to the 20s, like 20 and up. Like the questions are harder than the actual exam, so it like over prepares you. But again, as someone who's used it, like I do believe it works. So I honestly am a true advocate of the DAT Destroyer because I personally used it and I saw the difference between DAT Take 2 and 3.
What's that? The DAT Destroyer? Oh, yes. We have it right here.
So we are doing a giveaway with this video for the DAT Destroyer. This is my version. This is 2018. The new one will be a 2021, valued at $200.
So that's the one we'll be giving away, and we're super excited to be able to like give back and just share some of the resources. This is a perfect time. Everyone's studying for the DAT right now.
Perfect time.
In order to participate, we do want you guys to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, comment under the video. Make sure you go to our Instagram and tag a friend.
And we'll pick a comment underneath this video in our next video.
We will announce the winner on Instagram and on YouTube. So make sure that you follow the steps. If you have any questions, we'll have the instructions down below.
We're really excited for this. We love giving back to pre-dents. We're really excited to be able to give this opportunity to you guys. And thank you for watching us and supporting us.
Thank you so much for all the love you guys been showing, for real.
So back to resources.
Yes.
Let's talk about some of these other options, which I personally did not use, and I don't think you will be either.
I won't.
Right?
I'm doing everything Sona did. That's it. Whatever she did, I'm doing it. DAT Bootcamp and DAT Destroyer is what I'll be using. I also have Crack That, which I think it's also useful, supplemental on top of that. So what else? What else is out there?
So there are other programs out there. iPrep. That is a whole course. I've heard very popular down here in South Florida, which is funny. I've never heard of this up north.
One of my friends, she tried doing the course, but it wasn't her style. It was tough for her.
Yeah, I've heard like mixed reviews about that one. It is very expensive. I think at about $1,700.
I think it's a little bit more.
More now? Well, that's a lot.
It makes it more traditional. So if you're used to being in a classroom style, because studying for the DAT, you're kind of on your own. You don't have much of a guide. That's why these outlets are great, because like boot camp, it gives you a schedule that you can follow. And then for people that are used to traditionally being in a classroom and they prefer that style, iPrep would be something to explore.
And then like we mentioned before, Kaplan always has its own course. If you need that guided resource. Princeton Review. Oh, then we have some free supplemental things, which I would recommend. Understand a specific like subject. There is like free videos like on YouTube. Khan Academy is a popular one.
Yeah, Khan got me Orgo and Gen Chem.
Yeah.
So really recommend his breakdowns. He's awesome. Chad's videos, right?
Oh, I actually did use Chad's videos.
You did?
I loved him. So he was specifically for chemistry and orgo. He was a teacher and he like taught in a classroom, so that was really nice just to like learn.
Like any concepts that are a little bit complex, you can refer to those videos to get a breakdown, like a simple breakdown.
Cliff Notes. Cliff Notes is another like book specifically for bio, so it just gives you like all the facts you would need to know. I've heard good things about this one too. So it's just like again one book, and they have practice questions, and it's specifically for bio.
Okay. So we adding Cliff Notes to that. Those are the most common, the ones that we hear about the most.
So I hope this video was helpful. So many different outlets out there kind of pushing these prep courses, but they're not very honest about what is actually helpful or what's actually gonna get you that good score.
Wait, I have a question. When you are taking the DAT at this place, do you get scrap paper or like anything?
You do. So you get scrap paper. It's usually a dry erase board. There is a 15-minute tutorial in the beginning where they're telling you the directions and the rules. I know some people have used that to make like little charts for like, for example, the cube counting, the hole punching. So I would sit through that tutorial and just like, get yourself ready. And if you need to make any sort of chart, we use that time.
Okay. I hear a lot that they give you like a locker.
They do.
You put everything in, and you can't have anything, not water, not anything. You have to use those 15 minutes wisely. Okay.
No jewelry. They're gonna check you. Security check you.
What they don't tell you.
If you have any questions about any of these resources, I would honestly message us, like DM us or email us, because I will be honest about if I felt like it was good or not, because I think a lot of other people just kind of push these on you, and it's a lot of money. Like, you don't need all of this. You don't need to buy every single thing on this list.
For the DAT Bootcamp and the DAT Destroyer, there is a time frame that you have access to these programs. So you do get like a 90-day, or I saw they have a premium or a pro, something like that, where you pay a little bit more and you get it for an additional 180 days or 80 days, something like that. You make the purchase now, you have 90 days. Like, don't buy it and like not use it for 10 days or whatever.
Right.
Like, use your time wisely.
Like, don't overdo it. Don't buy every single extra or every package, because you don't need it. I would say pick one.
Join the DAT giveaway.
supplement.
Yeah.
With another, and that's it. You should be good. Believe in yourself too.
We got this, y'all. We got this. I plan to take mine in August, so I'm going to dedicate the next few months canceling my birthday. Like, all parties are canceled until I take this DAT, and then we are.
Then the real celebrations begin.
So I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and we gave you all the gems that we have. And like we always say, if you have anything to share with us, or if you have any questions, feel free to comment below or DM us on Instagram, because we're pretty active on there. So
you will get a response.
We're excited. You already know.
Like, subscribe,
hit the bell notification so that you know every time that we post. Bye.
Bye.